Hello, everyone, and welcome onto the mindset. I am Yetunde Adenike.
There are quite limitless number of signs, but what I would say in general is when you start to observe certain changes in your teen, your adolescent, pay closer attention. Pay attention to who he is talking to, what he is chatting, check his room occasionally. That way you may be able to pick something. And then as much as possible, try to engage that individual. But don't do that in a judgmental way because it can put him or her far away from you.
That was going to be my next question. My
Yeah.
next question is, how can we talk to teens about substance abuse without being judgmental? If you ask a child, for example, who is not involved in that kind of thing, there's a tendency to get defensive and feel like as parents, we don't trust them. So how can we bring up this topic in a manner that is not judgmental?
Yes. So just like any other conversation, there are many conversations parents should have with their children and have it in a very plain way. Something like friendship, relationships, and things like that. Now, talking about substance, we know that you are not just going to start discussing substance all of a sudden. You would have had some level of, let me use the word rapport now with your child, so that you're able to bring up different topics and you discuss generally. You may want to ask about his knowledge, what he has heard or what he knows. You may not directly talk to him if you suspect. You may do it as in one of those discussions, talk about it generally, talk about the possible effect, talk about the changes, talk about the fact that you you may want to even learn more to identify who is using. Talk about the implications, just on general note, and talk about the possibility of being helped. That is very important. Talk about the fact that somebody who is using substance may just be in it by mistake or by chance. Talk about the fact that people, most times they don't understand the depth of it before getting into it, and that some people who are in it actually try to stop or try to come out, and they can be helped. Talk about the fact that someone is using substance does not make the person a bad child, that is a behavior that can be unlearned. So when you sound understanding without judging or condemning or blaming, then they may be able to tell you, oh, I have one of my friends, usually it's not them, it will be their friend. And until you now discover that, yeah, I tried it once and I'm trying to quit myself. So then you can now get the information. So not going straight to hit the individual as in, so come, tell me, are you now smoking? Or are you now drinking? Which one are you doing? I understand people in your school are doing it. I come and tell me which one, that kind of statement can push them off and far away from you. Because what you will get is, no, 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 no. No, I will never do that. Meanwhile, that is just the opposite.
Except they have been caught red-handed like the
Except,
children in our
yeah.
program. And I asked that because you will see that at the beginning of the program, the elderly woman, when she approached the kids, she kind of carried out an attack on the kids because, of course, she had no idea what they were trying to do. But the younger lady was more understanding, and she was able, she was able to put them at ease and to get them to open up to her and advise them. Feedback I have gotten from this episode is that people have expressed shock at the fact that young people can use inhalants to modify behavior. I selected inhalants because it's the one that is readily available. I mean, if you want to go buy weed or something, at least you need some money. But with inhalants, you essentially can pick it up in the house. I remember a time I was having my school seminars, this My Life, My Choice series. The principal was quite flippant. He was like, oh, they're very busy. They're going for football, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, what are you even coming to talk about? So I began to talk to him about substance abuse. And when I got to inhalants, the man said, please, ma, can you come? When can you come? Can you come tomorrow? I said, no, we'll come next week. But what I'm trying to point out is that a lot of people don't know this. And, in some of the responses we got, people were saying, I actually thought they were going to burn the house. People, got back to me and said, I can't believe that's what they were going to do with the petrol. So how common is inhalant abuse?
Inhalants, unlike other substances that are illegal, inhalants are mainly items, household items or domestic items. And it is difficult to say, oh, this is the number of people who are abusing, this is the prevalence, But when we look at the items that make up these inhalants and look at the possibility of it being abused, we will understand that it can be very, very much out there. About 10 years ago, I was involved in a research in a very big market in Lagos. What I observed were among those very young, I could classify them as teens, was almost all of them had either nylon, like balloon, or hanky or cloth. And they kept on wiping or covering, as if wiping the nose and the mouth area. And it caught my attention. I was now observing more. And I saw a good number of them who were inside sitting. As they inhale, they nod. Some will nod, some will doze. They will just, the Joseph signs and all that. And then I became very interested. That was when I got interested in the issue of inhalants. And as I was sharing with one of my colleagues, he said, oh, that place is even small. He now mentioned the number of places. And at that time, it was not that very vast. Think about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
People were focusing more on cannabis and the likes. Now, it did not get better even from then, because as time progressed, we now know that people make use of aerosols, use of paint, normal paint for house.
Yeah.
They make use of nail polish,
even
polish remover.
Yeah.
They make use of correction fluid.
Yeah.
How do you stop a student from using correction fluid? How do you stop a young girl who wants to make her nail from using nail polish? How do you prevent somebody from maybe paint a house or maybe trying to walk around with paint? How do you stop somebody from putting fuel in generator, knowing that almost every household runs in generator? And a lot of people learn, just as in that clip you played.
So, you have been doing it, and you wanted to teach George too, right?
No, man. This is my first time, honest. I just wanted us to experiment together.
Experiment? Hey, you see what our children are exposed to today?
At such an early age too.
People are introduced to it on daily basis.
Yes.
For lack of knowledge, they want to try. And we know that inhalant, just like every other substance, is highly addictive.
Yeah.
For some people, it could even be all these fumes, exhaust from vehicles, which are very dangerous. So it is highly prevalent. I did not check recent research, but I know that from the past research, even though we cannot be very certain with the figures or percentages we get in our environment, because our research here is not that robust. But if you look at the percentage available, you will now just add 2 and 2 to know that it is a real issue. And the most disturbing part of it is that it's among children, younger ones, teens,
as young as 10.
The brain. Yes. Yes. Because once they try it and it gives them that sensation, then they keep trying it. And of course, parents who see it, they don't take it as anything, because these are common. Inhalant is a very serious substance, and you bringing it up in this program, I think it's, in fact, very timely, because many parents are enablers. You send your son who has problem inhaling substance, to go and be putting fuel in generator. And you are not aware, you are not watching to see how he reacts after carrying out such a task. What he does with the fuel that pour on the clothes or on the container, So it's very, very important that we pay attention. It is with us. It's not far away.
Vigilance.
Irrespective of what the prevalence.
Because these kids can get away with anything right under the noses of the parents.
Yeah.
So, well, what kind of intervention would really work for a child who is already, abusing inhalants or any other substance for that matter?
Okay. When one is already using the substance, there are different ways, If the person is already addicted, the person will have to go for treatment. There are treatment for addictions, okay? And even if the person goes through treatment, there is what we call secondary prevention and tertiary prevention. That is why in the present day management of addiction, the emphasis is on prevention. And this prevention we're talking about is not just about primary prevention. It involves even those who have used and have had problems with it over time, so that when they go through treatment, they are able to learn, they are taught skills that will help them not to have relapse. So that's like secondary prevention. And then for those who are not addicted but are at high risk of being addicted, they can also be taken through prevention intervention, So it's in categories. The basic thing, if there is addiction, the person has to go for treatment, and treatment entails a whole lot. Professionals take care of that. Basically, the biopsychosocial model of treatment is what is applied, and that's the gold standard. And very importantly as well, in the treatment, the focus here is not solely on the substance. The focus is on what led to the use and what is sustaining the use. Because if you're able to deal with those issues, the tendency of not using becomes higher. That is on one level. On another level, because it's not everybody that may have money like that to go straight to hospital for treatment, at least there should be some things one can do in the family or in the environment. One major thing is to have people around, like the adults, try to come close to understand them, speak to them. We mentioned the issue of communication. How do you get them to discuss it? Try to talk with them about it, talk about your observation, make them realize that you are seeing what is happening, you are willing to support. This will also help them to be serious where treatment is provided. Otherwise, they will not understand the depth of what is happening to them. So you do a lot of discussion with this individual, helping him or her to identify the problem or understand the problem. And then you can also suggest, okay, let's look for better help. Like a lot of people that I have had to deal with, they talk to them, convince them, and then they come in for therapy and they're like, okay, so I've been involved in this behavior. Really, I have been having fun with it, but it brought about a lot of conflicts at home. My parents think it's this and that, and they suggest I come to see you. And then I am here. So they want to hear what you want to say, They want to hear if it's really necessary for them to be in treatment, if there's any danger with it. And so by the time they go through the counseling session and all that, they get better understanding of what is really happening. And then they consider quitting. They consider dealing with issues that actually make them to use. And so that is just how one can contribute to helping the individuals even before they come to the treatment center.
Yeah, you said something about the importance of getting to the root of the matter, which for adolescents, I think is very important. If you look at Michael in the skit, the boy seems to have abandonment issues. I mean, if he has that much time to go on the internet. He has that much time to consume his father's brandy. Essentially, he's a boy that is left on his own so often. And we see a lot of that now with parents working a lot and children essentially being left on their own. I attended a conference recently, and we were talking about the role of the internet on adolescents' mental health. And this is one of it, because as long as the child is able to search, he would find. And as we said in the skit, when they find out about things like this, they hardly take the time to find out about the negative effects. So they find out drugs can make you feel good, drugs can make you cool, but they are not actually told that they can lose their lives, especially with inhalants. So that said, what role does the school, individuals, friends, community, what role, do we have to play in essentially maintaining our adolescents' mental health by preventing substance abuse?
Okay, so, well, it is simple. I mentioned prevention earlier, and the basic thing is awareness creation, enlightenment programs for people, teens, mostly seen in schools and in some other quarters, that will involve a lot of preventive information or prevention information, that will equip them to make better decisions when exposed to substance. When people have good information, they tend to make better decisions as to, do I really want to go on this journey? And then, apart from the awareness creation, it is highly encouraged that other skills, especially soft skills, be taught and practiced at different venues, schools, families, communities. People should learn how to say no to what they don't want. People should learn how to take quick decisions without being made to do something, especially these young ones. People should also learn that they can be independent-minded. They can be assertive, and it does not matter. Saying no is part of good response sometimes. Okay, so teaching them these soft and social skills becomes very necessary at various levels.
On the Mindset with Yetunde Adenike.
Okay, so as I was saying, another thing that can be done to prevent the substance among teens is getting them engaged, usefully engaged in activities, because we know that the more they are engaged in productive activities, the less they have the time to even deliberate on such matters. And that helps a lot in delaying the initiation of substance use and sometimes averting it entirely, because the more it's delayed, the wiser they get, the more meaningful they see life to be, and the more determined they are to achieve. So that way their mind is moved up from such issues, negative issues. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy, and I really want to appreciate you again and again. There is no time that we call you in BM Media that you do not show up. Thank you very much for what you're doing for mental health. God bless you. It's always a pleasure to have you around. And I hope that when we're going to do our next round of seminars, there is even no need for I hope. I know you will be there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you all for being a part of the Mindset today. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, when we shall be addressing another issue on health and well-being. Until then, I am Yetunde Adenike. Take good care of yourselves. God bless you all.